What is going on, everybody? Zyonik here, and in today's video we're going to take a look at how to counter a Vigoroth. So we're going to break down what Vigoroth is weak against and what he is strong against. And not only that, we're going to dive into some Jungle Cup battles with the counters to a Vigoroth to showcase how you guys can actually counter him successfully. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the latest Pokemon Go PvP content. Without further ado, let's get right into how to counter a Vigoroth for the Jungle Cup. Alright guys, so as you know, Vigoroth is an absolute beast for the Jungle Cup, but there are things that can stop it, and we're just going to take a look at how Vigoroth does against the field. And if you guys are unfamiliar with how these graphs work that I have, basically the numbers that you see on the left in red and green represent the shielding required. So for Heracross, right, Heracross needs no shields in order to win against a Vigoroth. Vigoroth is going to have to shield a couple times, as we will see here. We're going to go Heracross, right, with counter close combat and Mega Horn. If we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that Heracross can win in all shielding situations, and they'll tie in the no shield situation, which basically again is a win. So Heracross is the dominant Pokemon against Vigoroth. Moving up to the top right, we see that 1 to 2. That means if these Pokemon shield once or twice, they have a really good win rate against Vigoroth. So let's take a look at one. Let's take a look at Venusaur, right? Most of us have a Venusaur with that Frenzy Plant Community Day move. And as we'll see here, looking down at these ratings, Venusaur wins in all shielding scenarios, the 0-0, the 1-1, and the 2-2, meaning that if Venusaur shields once or twice, it can win as long as, you know, it mirrors the shields with Vigoroth, basically. Another Pokemon maybe you guys have is that Beedrill, right? The Beedrill going to be a really nice Pokemon for this tournament, especially maybe if we give it Aerial Ace, right, to counter itself, counter those grass type Pokemon. But let's see how it does. So it wins if it shields once or twice, mirroring those shields with Vigoroth. But if it doesn't have any shields, right, so let's say it has no shields, Vigoroth shields one move, Vigoroth's really gonna own it. So when it comes to these counters for the Jungle Cup against Vigoroth, you're gonna need those shields in order to win. Otherwise, Vigoroth is gonna get out of control. Now, if we move down to the middle where it says the 1-2 in red and green, that means these battles are determined by who wants to use the shields and who doesn't. So let's take a look at Pidgeot, right? A lot of people have Pidgeots or Pidgeys that you can easily acquire. Now, the legacy move Wing Attack is going to be more ideal. Maybe if we give it Aerial Ace, right? Aerial Ace Brave Bird. We're going to go ahead and simulate it. As we see here, Vigoroth can win the 0-0 and the 2-2, but they tie on the 1-1. So it's more favored towards Vigoroth, but Pidgeot can win, especially if Vigoroth only decides to shield once and Pidgeot decides to shield twice. As you guys can see there, it's going to be getting off that Brave Bird at the end to do 77 damage. So another Pokemon right there, as you guys will see, one of my personal favorites is going to be Scizor. Now Scizor with Fury Cutter, Iron Head, X Scissor as its moveset. We'll see again, it's going to be based on shielding. Vigoroth again is more dominant, but they're super close, which means it's going to come down to IVs. As you can see here, the 1-1 is a 506 rating, which means Vigoroth wins with 2 HP. So that's super close. That's going to be based off IVs. But Scizor stands a chance in these shielding situations, and whoever decides to use 2 or 1 shields and who doesn't is going to come out on top there. But this is where Vigoroth really starts to shine, is facing against a lot of the core meta. So let's take a look at Fortress, right? Fortress being the #1 ranked overall currently, with the ideal moveset of Bug Bite, Earthquake, and Heavy Slam. Let's take a look at how Vigoroth does against it. And as you guys can see, as long as you shield once on a Vigoroth, which is why in my last battle video, if you shield with the Vigoroth, you're gonna start owning a lot of Pokemon, especially if they're not a hard counter for you, because we can see in this 1-1 situation, those body slams are really gonna be putting in some work. It's not a ton of damage, but it does 25, which is really gonna start chunking away, along with those counters. But if you don't shield at all, this Fortress is going to get off that Earthquake, doing 80 damage, which will take you out. So you got to look out for that. Now, if we look at another Pokemon like Noctowl, which I highly recommend you guys try to find, especially since the unlocked charge move is so cheap at 10,000 Stardust, and you can trade for Hoot Hoots very easily. Noctowl is going to be a great pick, but Vigoroth really handles it well, and it handles it early, meaning it handles it in the 00 and the 11. But if Noctowl shields twice, it has a chance to beat it, and that's going to be based off of if it's a fresh fight, who has more stored energy, the IVs of the Pokemon, and it's going to be pretty close. But let's see if the no shield situation, why a Vigoroth wins. And it's because it's going to be getting off Body Slam. It's going to be doing 49 damage per, which is that's just a ton. Sky Attack doing 62, but Vigoroth does have quite a bit of health to be absorb a lot of that damage. Now another Pokemon that we'll definitely see is going to be Lantern. And Lantern, you could go one of two ways. We'll check out the Water Gun first. And the Water Gun is definitely more dominated by a Vigoroth, as you guys can see there. As long as Vigoroth shields, you can win the 1-1, and that's because that Thunderbolt isn't going to do a ton of damage, but the Bulldoze is, guys. Bulldoze is going to do 100 damage, so you need to watch out for that if you're playing a Lantern. You're going to be weak to that ground type move. But let's take a look at Charge Beam. Let's see what a Charge Beam does. So as we see here, it's more dominant for Vigoroth. So Charge Beam will help you win more against those flyers, but it loses more against Vigoroth, because as we can see here, Vigoroth is definitely going to be able to get to that Bulldoze a lot faster and not take as much damage because it's not getting hit with Water Gun. And then finally, let's go ahead and move down. Let's look at that Magneton, right? Magneton, definitely having the double legacy moveset, I should say, with Thundershock, Discharge, Magnet Bomb. It's gonna get owned by a Vigoroth. That counter absolutely destroyed. As you guys can see there, Vigoroth doesn't need to shield at all to win against a Magneton. It would behoove you to shield once, possibly to keep on top of your health. But if you don't shield, as you guys will see here, you'll still survive. The Magnet Bomb will do 75 damage, which is quite a bit, which is why I say if you have a Vigoroth on the field, you're going to want to be shielding at least once to get the most potential out of him. And then finally, we're going to look at Munchlax, which was a huge Pokemon that I was really hoping would do well in this tournament, but it's not looking like it's going to be the greatest. Granted, it can Body Slam spam as well. It's a tank. It's got Gunk Shot. But it's just kind of subpar. Let's see if we give it Tackle. And this is because Vigoroth has that counter damage, right? That counter damage is going to be doing 12 per hit. So it doesn't matter how much health Munchlax has. He's going to go down relatively quickly. As we can see, 2 Body Slams doing 62 damage apiece with that counter damage. It's going to destroy the Munchlax. So Munchlax definitely falling a little bit behind Vigoroth on the normal type leader for this tournament. But that's just the spread breakdown. So what I would definitely suggest you guys try to do, find a Heracross if you can. Again, I know it's a regional. It's going to be hard to acquire for a lot of people. Thankfully, myself, I was in Argentina, so I was able to get a bunch of them. But for a lot of you guys, I know you guys won't have it, which is why I'm going to go over to the next category. You want to get that poison, grass type attackers, whether it's a Venusaur, Victory Bell, Beedrill, something like that. As long as you shield on it, you have shields on it, you'll be able to handle that Vigoroth pretty well. Alright, getting right into this first battle, we're going to be bringing Venusaur as the counter to a Vigoroth. So we're leading with Vigoroth, and he's leading with Noctowl. So you would think this is kind of a bad matchup for us, but actually this Body Slam spam, Vigoroth can come out on top. As you guys will see here, we are just going to start spamming those Body Slams. Now we are going to have to shield on the Vigoroth. Like I explained earlier, Vigoroth is very dangerous when he does have shield. So as you can see, we get to another Body Slam here. This is going to connect and do a decent amount of damage, and it just starts steamrolling. So we are going to shield again. Double shielding on a Vigoroth is somewhat of a really good thing to do, especially if you're looking to take down other Pokemon. Now he brings in his own Vigoroth here. We're going to go ahead and use the Body Slam, burn his final shield, and then switch to Venusaur. Venusaur, not going to be taking a ton of damage from a Vigoroth from that body slam. It'll do about, you know, a third, but Frenzy Plant's going to delete this Vigoroth. That's why a Vigoroth with no shields is super squishy, especially to a Frenzy Plant from a Venusaur. As you see there, we eliminated the Vigoroth with just one Frenzy Plant because he had no shields up. Now, he is going to bring back in that Noctowl. We are going to be able to get to the Frenzy Plant here to finish off the Noctowl. And then his last Pokemon is going to be Lantern and a Charge Beam Lantern. So we are going to get to the Frenzy Plant again with no shields and pretty much sweep the team with Frenzy Plant right there. That's how strong Venusaur can be when there aren't shields in play, because Frenzy Plant's just going to hit really hard. Now, moving into the next game, the counter we're going to bring this time is a Heracross, and we need that protection from a flyer because Heracross is going to be weak to that Noctowl. So we bring the Golem, he brings Noctowl again. This is a very favorable matchup for us, but we do need to watch out for Psychic. Psychic's going to do some decent damage. However, he switches to his Vigoroth, so then we're going to switch to our Heracross. Now, Heracross can win, but you're going to want a shield to keep a little bit of health. You don't have to. But as you'll see here, he's going to get another body slam off. And if we didn't shield that first one, we would have to shield the second one in order to survive. So we do take down his Vigoroth. Now, he still has 2 shields up, but we have Mega Horn. Granted, you're going to want the second charge move of Close Combat as well. I just don't have the Stardust right now to do that. So we get the Mega Horn off, do some nice damage to the Noctowl before we go down. But then we're going to bring in that Alolan Golem again. Alolan Golem gonna be one of those really good counters to a flyer, and it looks absolutely hilarious that he's just jumping up and down. Now, I did shield there thinking it would have been Psychic, and Psychic would have pretty much almost taken me out right there, but we do connect the Wild Charge. Now, his last Pokemon, it's kind of dangerous. It's gonna be that Lantern again. So as we see when he brings it in, it is a Lantern. It's a Charge Beam Lantern. So what I'm gonna try to do, force this shield with the Wild Charge, and I'm going to switch to Noctowl to soak, make him use those Thunderbolts and not save up for a Hydro Pump. So he's going to have to overcharge right here. He's going to have to use Thunderbolts on me, but I'm going to be able to get to Sky Attacks pretty quickly. As we see right here, I have 1 Sky Attack already. He has no shields. This isn't going to do a ton of damage, but it's going to do enough to put him close. So now again, he's gonna have to use his Thunderbolt again in order to take me out, because that Sky Attack would have eliminated him right here. So he uses the Sky Attack, or uses the Thunderbolt, and we're just gonna finish off with Rock Throws right there. So GG's. Now moving into the final battle, we are going to be using Venusaur again as our counter to Vigoroth. However, we're facing a Heracross, which is kind of interesting. So what I'm gonna go for is a Frenzy Plant to Shield Bait here. I waited just till I got to Sludge Bomb. We go for the Shield Bait. We get the Shield Bait. Now this Mega Horn we are going to have to shield. But now Sludge Bomb is going to do a decent amount of damage. So we're going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb. It's going to be able to eliminate the Heracross if he doesn't shield. So he decides not to shield right here. His Heracross does go down. Now Venusaur is primed to get shields, so we're going to go ahead and use our final shield right here on the Venusaur. We like the fact that we're going to be able to burn his shield as well with the Frenzy Plant, and Vigoroth is very weak when he doesn't have shields. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to store some energy. We're going to bail into Noctowl to soak this Body Slam, and then we're just going to start going to town with Noctowl. However, I do expect him to switch out relatively soon. So we do see the switch out right there. It is going into Lantern, which is a great counter to a Noctowl. But we're going to be getting off a lot of Sky Attacks, and he's going to have to use his energy to take us out because Noctowl is just so tanky. So as you can see, he's overcharging right now. And then he's going to use his Thunderbolt just before I get off my final Sky Attack there. Now this Thunderbolt is going to KO the Noctowl. So now I'm going to bring in Vigoroth, and what I want Vigoroth to do is soak all the charge damage from everything. I want him to soak this Thunderbolt, and I want him to soak the Body Slam from the opponent Vigoroth. So we're going to overcharge a little bit and then go for the Body Slam right here. This is going to KO the Lantern. Now his Vigoroth is coming in, and he's going to have to use Body Slam. Now he got off the Body Slam, And now we switch to Venusaur with the Frenzy Plant, with a Vigoroth with no shields. As you guys know, that is GG's. So very well played, Cody. Thank you for the battles. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys found it informative. So be sure to smash that like button and comment down below and let me know what you guys think about these counters for Vigoroth and which ones you guys are thinking about bringing. And also, I want to put something out there. I know in the last video I said that shinies do more damage, and that was a joke, guys. I was being sarcastic. I know I kept a very straight face through it, but I'm seeing a lot of comments saying, whoa, I didn't know shinies do more damage. They don't. They absolutely don't. It's just it's a funny joke for PvP. Shiny or non-shiny will do the same amount of damage based on the move and the stats that they have. But the difference between shiny and non-shiny, there is no difference when it comes to damage. So I just want to clear the air there, and let all you guys know that I was joking, and that was the driest sarcasm that I ever brought. But like always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.